good morning, or noon, or whatever it is. I wanted to stream a little bit earlier, but when I woke up I got something in my eye, so that instantly tired me out again because I spent the entire morning trying to get it out of my eye and crying. I think it's still in my eye, so if my eye tracking is like eye more shut today, then that's why. Yeah, it's not gonna be an exciting stream today by any means. It's just stuff I've been meaning to get to, but I wanted to just do it on stream just because. Basically what we have to do today is Tatu's Grand Endeavor, which is the second part of this entire expansion length quest. So I think that'll take about maybe an hour. The Archfiend lore, which will also probably be close to an hour, or maybe like 40 minutes, I think, is what I've seen on YouTube when it comes to like the length of those quests. And then the main event today is the Rising, which is the 9th anniversary of Final Fantasy XIV. And they give you a really fucking ugly minion. I can't wait to get that fucking abomination. I pretty much have everything set up to jump right into the game. Not much else I could think to talk about at the moment. Besides, like, yeah, I woke up and I got something in my eye, and it's been hurting like a bitch all morning. Just making sure everything seems to be working. I am at my house currently because I wanted to check and see if the servers are still congested, and yeah, they're still congested. That reminds me of the funny article I saw, like Final Fantasy players' biggest challenge is knowing how to fucking relax. Here's content you're supposed to do very slowly over the course of many days. No, said the Final Fantasy community. We must min-max Island Sanctuary and exhaust the content within the first week of it coming out and get rank 10 and still make no one else can fucking play this shit. At least on my server, because, you know, I play on the fucking meme server where everyone goes to ERP, so... Hopefully this stream goes better than the last one. Well, I mean, the last one went good. I mean, the first Final Fantasy XIV stream I did, which is the summer event. That one was like embarrassingly bad that I think I'm just like taking it down. Or else I'm cutting out some parts of it, I guess. Alright, well, let's hop into the game. I'll probably take a break between quests to give my computer a little bit of a rest, since I don't know if it's like gonna make the GPU go fucking crazy or not. Like I said, like fucking streaming this game, it's always like gets my computer a little nice and toasty. Regular gameplay, not so much. Streaming for some reason adds extra stress onto it. Alright. Game will pop up there we go. And then alright, we have audio. We'll see, I'm at my house. Oh, wait. It actually let me enter my house, thank God. So timer reset. I think this was the previous year's reward. I can't remember though for the Rising, but this portrait. quick little run through of my house. It's nothing too fancy. As I previously said, when you have a medium, you just don't have enough slots to put down furniture. And like little things like this already like take up so many slots that I could be furnishing with bigger stuff. Most popular thing I've seen people do, honestly, is they just they close off the downstairs or the upstairs completely and just focus on 2 floors instead. Because if you try and outfit all 3 floors equally, then you just kind of run out of space and they become very barren. Let's try and enter the FC house real quick. I want to make sure that they're both on equal timers, so I don't know if they've paused house demolishing yet. So I probably actually will be able to get into the island sanctuary if I'm able to get into my houses. Okay, so that's one worry down. Alright, and for the sake of my sanity navigating this city, I think we're gonna swap to a different server real quick. Oh no, you can see what my home world is. Oh no. Fucking okay. I think Malboro will be the most dead. It's hard to tell with some of these servers. It seems deader than Balmung at least, which is a good sign. If it isn't my dear adventurer friend, please, am I to see you again? Have you perchance come to join us in remembering the calamity? Yep. If you have a moment, there's a favor I would ask of you. Will you not hear me out? In part due to the promotional efforts during the recent Moonfire Fair, more people are seeking to take up adventuring. Not all are yet wise in the ways of the world, however, and I fear they might fall prey to less principled types in Ul'dah. If one such as you were to help them on their way, I would feel more at ease. What say you? Will you not take a fledgling adventurer under your wing? Alright. I get a minion out of this, so I gotta do it. I'm truly grateful. Now I believe a carriage is due to arrive shortly. If you go and wait at the gate of Nald, chances are a soul will wander in, who has just embarked upon the path of adventure. Pray greet them and offer your help. Worry not, you'll have no trouble identifying them. You need but look for someone absorbed in their surroundings. Hehe, I dare say it will feel like glimpsing into the past, right to the part where you are greeted by a helpful stranger. Yeah, so now I'm playing the role of a quest giver to a noob. But these Rising events, since they're like anniversaries, they're basically like always super meta and like referential that like we're actually in an MMO. Whoa, it's just like if you first started the game. Well, yeah, I am. I'm the NPC. Oi, adventure, over here. Got a license for that knife? But who are you? I'm a Lalafell. People hate Lalafells. Ah, an experienced adventurer, you say, and you want to help me on my way? Well, I could certainly use some guidance. I've never been anywhere near as big and busy as Olda. My name... Nahagia Jakya. Just Nagi will do. Yeah, that's good. And as you rightfully guessed, I am an aspiring adventurer. That's why I left my village and came here. So I understand that you need to register at the Adventurers Guild. Do you know where it is? Yeah, you don't want to go in there. The floors are kind of sticky, and a lot of awful things happen in those halls. Just through that door, is it? Thank you. I'll head there. You know, it probably would have been funnier had I did stream this on Balmung. Then you would get to see. Nah. Nagi rushes off before he can offer further explanation. Perhaps you should follow him to the quicksand. Ooh. I feel like it's maybe like in poor taste to run around on Balmung while people are, you know, doing their roleplay stuff. And one, it would probably make my computer explode with streaming this, and two, just, I don't know. I guess it's just more respectful not to make a spectacle out of like what is already technically kind of a zoo. In and out, in and out. Come on, Nagi, you can do it. Oh man, in and out. God damn it. Oh, it's you again. To be honest, I'm nervous. It's heartening to have you here too. Why, hello there. What can I do for you today? The lad here is to register, is he? Yes, madame. I wish to join the Adventurers Guild. My name is Nagaya Jakyaya, and I'm 16 years old. Practically a man grown. No, you're still a baby. Hehe, we a lively one. Momodi's the name, and if you want to be an adventurer, then you've come to the right woman. There's nothing to it, really. You just need to write your name in the register. Come, come. That, you're officially a member of the Adventurers Guild. If you ever need a bit of advice about one thing or another, pay me a visit. Just don't go bothering me every time you stub your bloody toe, alright? Of course, I do enjoy hearing tell of a gentleman's woes with the woman folk from time to time. Now then, normally I'd offer you the grand tour. But in light of present company, I reckon you ought to have it from him. He's a renowned adventurer after all, the bleeding champion of Eorzea, and you could do far worse than to get his advice. I give pretty good advice. But my first piece of advice was go in the quicksand, which the opposite of good advice. To begin with, mayhap you could recommend the guild here in Olaf for Nahagi to join. If it's too noisy in here, there are benches just outside where you can have a nice little chat. This bench would be full of people on Balmung. I must confess, choosing a guild is quite daunting. I'd appreciate any advice you can offer. The following event cannot be skipped. You may wish to cancel any pending duty fighter registrations. Alright, let's talk guilds. I'm all ears, Rickubus. Adventuring can be dangerous. What attracted you to it? Merchant who was in a carriage with me, Bree something, asked me much the same thing. At the time, I couldn't give a proper answer. I had a reason for leaving home, of course, but I couldn't express it in words. But having now set foot in Ul'dah, it's become clear in my mind. I wanted to know what lay beyond the horizon, wanted to see it with my own eyes and be amidst it. You've been to many places, right? You like it then? Traveling, that is. Traveling is nice, but I'd prefer to put my roots down somewhere. Truly? That's a little unexpected. I'd love to go to my island sanctuary, but you know, I haven't been able to for the past week that the content's been out. And yet, perhaps, it's when we've seen the world that we know there's a perfect place for us, one we'd like to call home. But, inexperienced as I am, I don't know if I could live a life on the road. Is there a guild that could equip me with such the skills I need? One representing crafters and gatherers. I see, a place where I can learn a trade. Indeed, we can't always rely on fighting to make a living, and having the ability to gather and craft would be invaluable. If I recall correctly, Ul'dah is home to the Alchemist's Guild. I happen to have some familiarity with medicinal herbs, and I dare say I can put the knowledge to use. Yes, I believe this is the guild for me. I'll go and join at once. Will you be alright by yourself? Thanks for your concern, but I should be fine. If you still have time, though, could we meet again afterwards? There are a few more things I'd like to ask you about. Great, I'll look for you here when I'm done. You wait a good while, but Nagi is nowhere to be seen. Perhaps you should look in on him at the Alchemist's Guild. Probably would have been faster had I just cut through the quicksand. There we go. I always dislike trying to navigate Ul'dah normally. Idiot, had my mental facilities been diminished as a result, what then? The world would have forever been deprived of my genius, that's what. Ah, my loyal assistant. You are come at a good time. This fool of a trainee switched my drinking water with some unknown fluid, which I unwittingly imbibed. I'm sorry, Master Civilian, but it was just a herbal tea. You looked wary and I thought it might help. Why in the seven hells didn't you say so first? That the way I might have recorded my vital signs and ascertained the tea's effects. Such negligence ill befits an alchemist, and I ought to kick you out of my laboratory right now. Still, you completed the assigned task perfectly. In light of this, you have earned another chance. Very well, you may serve as my assistant on a probationary basis. I'm sorry you had to see that, Rickubus, but it seems all is well, at least for now. Master Severian truly lives and breathes alchemy. Though the tea is quite bitter, he thought only of its effects and made no comment on its tastes. I believe I stand to learn much under him, but I'll do my best not to incur his ire. I must apologize to you for keeping you waiting. So engrossed was I in the potion making, I lost track of time. And one other thing. As I was at my work, a peculiar minstrel approached me and said that if I am resolved to walk an adventurous path, I should seek him out for a task. Moreover, he asked that you accompany me. If you're willing, he's apparently waiting at the Ruby Road Exchange. Got that song stuck in my head. I've been like listening to a lot of video game music, as I usually do anyways. My friend, you have done a splendid job as a guide. I was right to entrust the task to you. What? Do you mean to say Rickubus approached me at your behest? He did, I must confess. You see, for my next composition, I seek to capture the essence of the times. While any number of subjects would be worthwhile, of great interest to me in the recent rise in the ranks of adventurers. In thus bringing the different generations of adventurers together, I had hoped for inspiration to strike, and I'm pleased to say that it has. Drawing upon your experience walking your path, you have helped Nagi to begin walking his, a reminder that the present owes its existence to the past. That is to say, the present and the past are deeply entwined. If we would capture the former, we cannot well disregard the latter, and this brings me to my next request. I ask that you each find an object with a connection to the calamity, the event which gave rise to the realm's rebirth, and present it to me with its tale. Well now, that sounds not unlike a treasure hunt, and it'd be my very first task as an adventurer. What do you say, Rickubus? Shall we do it? Okay. Excellent. When you have your items, pray seek me out at the Ruby Road Exchange. I eagerly look forward to seeing what you bring. There are many vendors at the Sapphire Avenue Exchange, right? Chances are they'll have something, so let's begin our search there. Running as far as my little legs can take me. Whoa. Come on, let's begin looking around. So I think this is like the first time since Endwalker we've had a seasonal event that uses this mechanic that they introduced in Endwalker, where the NPCs will follow us around. Not the most exciting mechanic, but it's something new to like change up how basic quests can be sometimes. Welcome, welcome. What is it you're after? Objects with a connection to the calamity, you say? Why, I have just the thing, an amethyst ring from Ishgard, steeped in sentimental value. 5 years ago, on the eve of the Battle of Cartagena, as a young temple knight set out from his homeland, wishing to do his part of Eorzea when his nation would not. Alas, the man never arrived in the flats. En route, he came upon a merchant being attacked by a dragon and lost his life going to the stranger's aid. This was his ring, an heirloom passed down through his line. What a tragic tale. But I wonder, how did the ring find its way back? If the knight fell, it seems the merchant couldn't have survived unscathed. I remember now. Though the knight was mortally wounded, he succeeded in striking down the dragon, and with his last breath, he entrusted the ring to the merchant. Yes, that's what happened. So, what do you say? If you're interested, I would be willing to part with the relic for a special price, but for today only. This feels a bit dubious. Shall we look around some more? There's bound to be other things out there. Oh, is this a local cuisine? Goodness, but everything looks amazing. In the course of your journeys, you must have sampled all kinds of food. From a simple fare to exotic feasts, I look forward to sampling everything too. Kinda makes me wish like there was a achievement in Final Fantasy for trying all the different types of foods like there was in World of Warcraft. Like each expansion basically had an achievement where it was like, eat all the cuisine native to each piece of content. And that was like pretty cool, and like finding the little lore books littered around the world, and that attributed to an achievement as well. Wish Final Fantasy had like little things like that sometimes, because as much as I shit on World of Warcraft, it did have a lot of like really nice world building things. And like little side objectives before like the focus, you know, becomes like esports and endgame and all that shit. But Final Fantasy has like plenty of little side objectives that World of Warcraft doesn't really have. Oh, if it isn't Rickubus. How have you been, my friend? I'm still working at my craft, as you can see, and for the Rising this year, Astin has organized a street exhibit for me. Please feel free to browse at your leisure, and don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions. We're looking for objects that bear connection to the Calamity. Do you have anything that fits the description? As a matter of fact, I do. Yonder pane entitled The Sultana's Seven depicts an inspiring event from the Calamity. 'Twas the final days before the fall of Dalamud. Its inexorable approach, foretelling our impending doom, panic spread like a wildfire while many in their desperation turned on the Sultanate. Looting and rioting broke out across Ul'dah. To quell the masses, Her Royal Majesty, Namano Namo, took to the streets with a guard consisting of only 7 subjects, for they alone had the courage to stand with their Sultana. There she addressed the rabble. Heed me, my beloved citizens. The realm lies upon the brink of the 7th Umbral Era. Yet, so long as we live, we must not forget our compassion. Now is not the time to take from your neighbor, but to proffer him the hand of succor. Brought to their senses by her words, the people laid down their arms and set about healing the wounds they themselves had inflicted on Ul'dah, and those who returned from the battlefield found their home much as they left it, a gleaming jewel in the desert. Her Majesty sounds like a great ruler. Ul'dah is fortunate to have her watching over it. Thanks for sharing the tale. It is indeed inspiring, and you've done an incredible job capturing it in glass. So far, so good. Let's look around a little bit more. House of Splendors? What kind of place is this, I wonder? See, you're not familiar with the house. We offer wares in exchange for scripts, but our services are available only to those whom we know and trust. So if I want to be a customer, I need to make a name for myself. One day, Nagi, one day. Greetings. From daily necessities to unusual curios, I deal in all manners of wares. Is there something in particular you seek? You need but ask. Objects to do with the Calamity? The two of you are adventurers, are you not? In which case, I have something that may be of interest. It's a journal I acquired from an adventurer who retired injured. The man recorded his experiences during the Calamity in detail, and I dare say has a value for students of history. Oh, an adventurer's first-hand account. I'd love to pore over it. Do you keep a journal of your adventures as well, Rickubus? If so, I'd love to read it one day, with your permission, of course. It's called the Devil Eddie Journey. I think it's a really cool name, but it's I got a few drawings in it that I don't want you to see, so Oh, for another historical piece, I also have a scrapbook of articles from The Raven, Redania's leading tabloid. These mainly cover events outside the Calamity, however. Articles from The Raven, you say? I dare say we've seen enough. Let's find a quiet spot to discuss what to bring back. Right, this looks like a good spot as any. I don't know about you, but that was all very new and exciting for me. Talking to Myred people, learning a tale beyond each object. It has been a great experience, and I won't soon forget it. Now then, we need to decide what we want to take to the minstrel. Have you made up your mind? The Sultana's 7 pain, I think. I see. I did consider that too, but in the end settled on something else. What is it? Heh, if you don't mind, I'd like to keep it a surprise. Come, let's purchase our respective items and meet back where the minstrel awaits. It's so weird seeing this place empty. It's not completely empty, but usually there'd be so many people, the pop-in would be crazy, and you like would constantly be loading in new people as you would move around. Shit would get pretty confusing pretty fast. Welcome back, you've found an item, I trust. Well now, what have we here? Ah yes, the Sultana's 7. I know it well. 'Tis an iconic tale of leadership amidst great adversity. It may be said that Her Majesty's actions that fateful day helped to forge Ul'dah as it is now. In that sense, it well suits the theme of my composition. Now then, what of you, young Nagi? Ah, what might this be? It's a scrapbook of articles from The Raven. You see, my sister is a reporter for the tabloid. During the Calamity, she traveled the realm, interviewing adventurers about their journeys, and I loved nothing more than to hear her tales. They seemed like such a diverse crowd, adventurers. No two people were alike, and yet they were united in the free, unshackled lives they lived. It struck a chord with me, and in time I found myself admiring them. Looking back, it was my sister who instilled in me the desire to see the world, to become an adventurer. That's why I chose this scrapbook. I see, the footprints someone leaves on their journey become the starting point for another. Yes, a verse comes to me, a blessing for those who are taking their first cherished steps into the unknown. Pray, lend me your ears. Here we go. Time to be visited by the big man himself. All the different races in their starting gear. Oh, and he's in the Reaper outfit this time. Greetings, Warrior of Light. Oh my god, it's Yoshi P. This is a world that exists outside your reality. Could it be a dream? A flight of fancy conjured by your wary mind. Perhaps? Perhaps not. 'Tis a pleasure to meet you again. As I have in the past, I have beckoned you here that I might express my gratitude. First of all, I wish to thank you for continuing to grace us with your presence. You and your fellow adventurers are our inspiration, and this shall never change. The world, however, is an ever-changing place, mysterious in its elusiveness. Unexpected hardships may turn our lives upside down, and though we all desire peace deep in our hearts, the sparks of conflict never cease to be struck. Like an adventurer's journey, the world is constantly moving towards the unknown. It takes considerable courage to alter the course. Yet, I ardently believe that it is a small but significant step in our quest to create new adventures. Indeed, another great change is about to visit the world, and it shall open the way to exciting new journeys. And 'tis our abiding hope that our journey together shall ever continue on to the distant horizon and beyond. Now, the time has come for this vision to end. Time for your eyes to open from this waking dream. Return to walking your path and know that you are in our hearts always. Till next we meet, I bid you safe travels. Wow. Thank you for the generous reward and the uplifting verse. It gives me courage for the road ahead. Speaking of which, it's time I set out on my own. Though it was brief, I enjoyed our time together and I hope to see you again, somewhere out there. Pass my regards to your sister. Though much and more was lost in the calamity, intrepid souls continue to set forth, paving the way unto the future. In such a moment in history, do we stand, and for you, I would perform another song. Your life is a riddle to bear gladness and grief. These stars and through storms the answers to seek. Your footprints are threads to be gathered and woven. A song of dawn, resplendent, dancing high to the heavens. From the embrace of the gods, though mankind has been torn, upon winds, eternal lives and memories are born. The future is unwritten, bring it rapture or sorrow. Our journey shall continue unto tomorrow and tomorrow. Wow, it was beautiful. Cool fireworks. I wonder, how do you feel as you watch Nagi set off? Did the sight fill you with worry for a fledgling adventurer, or did it awaken fond memories of your own humble beginnings? Whichever it may be, I know that yours is a journey more trying than most. There will be times when you are overcome by loneliness. Yeah. And each step feels heavier than the last. In such a moment, I bid you remember this. So as long as you harbor love for this world, ever shall there be a place for you in it. Your adventures will never end. Yeah, I'll continue to give you $15.99 a month or whatever it costs. And as usual, it ends on this site. Now, the thought just occurred in my mind and had me really worried that, okay, good, my microphone is actually working and I wasn't reading all of that for nothing and sitting in silence for the past hour. Well, it hasn't been an hour, but this is about like a 30-minute quest, I guess. Ah. Wow. Wow. Oh my god, what's wrong with your face? Oh god, like, it's such an ugly minion. Ugh. It would look perfectly fine if he didn't have his like signature fish lips. I feel like when you're making a chibified version of something, you kind of like don't make an overly detailed mouth. The eyes could be as detailed as you want them to be. I think that's like the big draw of like a chibified version of something, is that like they have like big crazy eyes and then their mouth is kind of like more on the simple side. But with this fucking camera, it just looks weird. I don't like his lips. Like, if they just like kept it simple, I think it would have looked much better. That feels like something we should have gotten sooner for a previous Rising event, honestly. I don't know why they waited this long to give it to us. But hey, probably COVID had something to do with that. Let's, I'm gonna take out my chicken nugget for a while. I like this little guy. Alright, so next up on the menu is wait, no, I don't go there. I go to I did a quick run through of these quests on alts, admittedly, but I just skipped all the dialogue and cutscenes. I was saving the actual like story and reading it for streaming and enjoying it live rather than doing it offline and like taking it in there. I wish Charlotte had its own travel tab. I feel like they're running out of space with the teleport menu though. They probably like, I think in one of the future patches, they're probably gonna do a revamp to the overall teleportation menu. Alright, so thoughts on that quest. I think it was a pretty cute quest. Like I said, the Rising is always like a meta event where it's kind of like more about celebrating the game's anniversary more than anything. It's I like how they do it in this game. Can't remember how they did it in World of Warcraft. Just I think it's just like they put beer around towns or whatever, and then fireworks in the sky, and it. For the longest time, they didn't even really bother like making a celebration out of the anniversary. I know nowadays they like offer special amounts and like time traveling shit to like old dungeons that people loved, and like gave out some cool rewards, but that was like a newer thing. And as the game started going to shit, unfortunately that's when they started rewarding people for their anniversary, it feels. I had to drink some water. Okay. And then just taking a short little breather between the quests. This next one is definitely gonna be the longest. Now I did the first part, and I think this quest line is basically gonna be like the one that was in Heaven's Ward, where you go back and like every patch you talk to a bunch of the characters from like stories and learn their learn what's kind of happened after the fact and how they're doing, and like there's like a penultimate reward in the end, and like at the midway point too there's like some other rewards. So I think this one is going to basically focus maybe on all the different raid series to maybe perhaps like breadcrumb people into doing the alliance raids, because in order to do this next part you must have completed the Void Arc and that series of alliance raids. I think I have an alt who hasn't done the Void Arc yet, so I don't know if it's just that one or if it requires all three and like to complete that story. But if I had to guess, it's going to require that you have completed all three of the stories. So let me just take a moment to stretch. Okay, and let's hop back into it. I hope my voice isn't peaking too much. Hope it sounds decent enough for reading. I have an issue where like I don't really know how to balance my voice exactly like in real life. Because I don't talk a lot or use my voice a lot. There's kind of like this degree of like how do I control the volume of my voice a little bit better, and sometimes my microphone is fine and sometimes it's not fine. Sometimes it's like popping its peas a little. I do have a filter that I can put in front of my microphone, but it's just one more thing to obscure my face, and with the whole tracking issue, and I basically have to like be eating this microphone for it to sound good. You got this is me really up close to the microphone, and this is me like it's close, but it's not like too far away from it. And if I pull back, this is how it sounds. So I try and do this as like the middle ground, but I see it's still hitting red occasionally. So yeah, it's hard to balance my voice and like what volume to use from what distance. Hopefully something I improve in time, or just fucking throw this microphone in the trash and fucking buy one that's actually good instead of trying like to fucking rip my hair out getting this Blue Yeti Pro to sound decent enough. You could probably make any microphone sound good if you fuck around with it enough, but is it really worth the effort after a while, I suppose? You work with what you have, and then hopefully in the future you get better to work with. But I think I'm somewhat near the end of my journey of my audio sounding shit. I'm still making micro adjustments and trying out different settings. Okay. I just want this song to end. I like it. Oh, I forgot the silence Discord. Sorry for anyone watching that just thinks they probably got a Discord alert. Whoops. Alright. I'm not using a towel for my keyboard, but I'm not going to be hammering on a lot of the keys, so hopefully like any noise that exists is very minimal and maybe like not heard through the music. God damn, someone outside is being very, very noisy. Soaring profits. Why, hello there. Your arrival could not have been more timely. Mistress Tartaru has but just left instructions for another batch of deliveries. She sends her regards, of course. Today she is in Idleshire for business with Rowena's House of Splendors, and tomorrow with no doubt find her in some other far-flung corners of the realm. We mustn't be outdone, Rickubus. I don't know if that could be heard, but someone's playing with sheet metal, and give me a second. Alright, sorry about that. I had just decided to shut my window. My immersion has been ruined. This time, our samples are destined for 2 organizations in Corthus, an arrangement made possible by none other than the Master Sicard. He contacted his dear friend, Lord Aemelian de Fortemps, who was kind enough to spread word of the boutique to his own contacts across Ishgard. It hardly took any time for the first letter of interest to reach us, and once these samples have been delivered, that interest will be piked to a passion. Sorry, that was probably really fucking awful to hear just now. Popping my peas, I can hear them. Or so I have been assured, Lord Aemelian. Aemelian Lane? Aemelian? Fucking Ishgardians and their fucked up names. I know what the character is, but still. Has insisted we take care of all his particulars and bid me convey with enthusiasm that he looks forward to accompanying you on the deliveries. Now then, regarding that secret mission of ours. A gorgeous sapphire, is it not? It will make a beautiful necklace once restored. A keepsake of not only Mistress Tataru's mother, but that of her many friends and allies from across the realm. I am confident that someone of your experience has a most discerning eye for mementos. Bring back anything you think might make a worthy addition. And with that, I will leave these samples in your capable hands and eagerly await your safe return. Alright, so... now, this is a side quest that does have a reward. Oh, it looks like congestion is... wait, no, I'm on a completely different server. That's why I can't access the firmament. I accidentally, like, clicked that out of, like, bad habit. I got so used to coming here and just clicking on that. Back when we were rebuilding Ishgard. So I'll talk about what the rewards are and maybe show them off at the very end. Rickubus, old boy, 'tis good to see a rosy glow in your cheeks, considering that dreadful business with the imminent destruction of mankind and the end of times and whatnot. You gonna start Fortnite dancing on me? Come on. Yes, indeed. Who is better to distribute exquisite arms and accoutrements than a bona fide hero such as myself? Or yourself. Well, I have two parties with simply ravenous interest in your products, dear chap. Fucking nerd. The first of whom so happens to be rather exquisite herself, my dearest lady Lenionette. Be so good as to precede me to the Rosen House. I shall be along promptly, of course, just as soon as I am coiffed and powdered. God damn it. This fucking guy. I wonder how long I'll be able to keep up the voice. Anyone watching is gonna be like, oh my fucking god, please no, stop it. Whoa. I'm sorry if you hear a Cerberus in the background. There's one of those little things running around the house. Well met, Rickubus. 'Tis good to see you hailed and whole. Thank you for personally making the trip. I know your obligations are many. Truth be told, your arrival could scarce have had better timing. While our erstwhile troubled relations with the Vanu improved by the day, we have been forced to reconsider our current munitions due to recent incidents of... I have come, my darling Blossom. Behold, Emelian the Executioner, here to smite your foes with ruthless ardor. Well, I stake a rather smashing silhouette, do I not? Why, the card could not have found a better man to gift these samples to. Surely such a splendid armor could be put to better use than fashion, Lord Emelian. Could I not prevail upon your better senses to relinquish that gear to those who might appreciate it practically? Far be to deny any request of yours, Lady Lynette. Only I must confess that I may have slightly exaggerated Saccard's generosity in the matter of gifting these. Ah, you mean to say you borrowed them? No doubt without his knowledge or consent. And why should I have expected otherwise? Friends may forgive, but it bears repeating that your clients deserve at least a modicum of professionalism. You do have other clients, don't you? Of course I have. A little celebrity at that. You remember the Red Bills, of course. Oh? The Sky Pirates? That's an experienced adventurer, should know them, hardly surprises me, but how does a privileged son of House Fortemps come to make their direct acquaintance? 'Twas a happy coincidence of ale and circumstance, I assure you. As Rickubus here can attest, an unbiased range of social contacts is the essential arsenal of not just adventurers, but any gentleman of consequence. Unbiased is very well, but Sky Pirates are precisely the problem I was speaking of earlier, Rickubus, before we were interrupted. Recently, self-proclaimed Sky Pirates have been marauding trading vessels with troubling audacity. Even the Sky Steel Manufactory has reported stolen property at the hands of these ruffians. Troubling news indeed, so I cannot imagine fellows as amicable as our Red Bills could be responsible. Still, if we should hear an aught of it, I shall send word directly. Now then, Rickubus, off we trot to the infamous Proc. I have been told not to seek out a certain red standard upon Codewind. How the pulse quickens. Oh, how nice of him to take me right where I need to go. Well, if you ain't the very picture of health, Rickubus, saving the star from complete annihilation didn't tax you over much then, eh? Let me guess, it was not compared to all the bowing and scraping required of mercantile genteel. Don't tell me this dandy is what wooed you from the life with sweet nothings of financial comfort. Leofard, my good man, you know as well as I that the only one wooing Rickubus into anything is yourself. Don't think your interest is our mutual friend here escape my notice. Your aim all the way was less about armaments than it was an audience with Rickubus, was it not? The fuck did you just say? Heh, not bad for a dandy. I might have had some sights on touching reunion between Rickubus and myself, but that's not to say I won't be needing those samples. See, I have a job that could right benefit from both your keen sense and those pieces you've brought me. So long as they're half the quality of what Amélian was showing off in the alehouses, anyway. I can count on your participation, yes? The duly compensated, of course. Just name your price. I wanted 2 chocobo. Parts of a necklace? For Taru herself, eh? That's cool too. I'd have preferred something you might make use of. Okay. But far be it from me to dictate what a man does with his booty. If that's your recompense, I'll see what I can do. Now that we have you on board, allow me to elaborate. It seems another band of petty thieves has been masquerading as sky pirates and harrying honest traders as of late. So you've heard of them, aye? These so-called monstrous cockatoos don't exactly strike fear into the hearts of man, but they're being a right nuisance. And now they've gone and made things personal. Remember the Ramil, don't you? The captain's old airship? Well, after what happened in Dunscath, we've been commissioning the finest airship parts from across the realm for the construction of her successor. Only to have those cockapert nincompoops pillage the very Skyscale manufacturing vessel that was carrying our precious cargo. The nerve of some people, makes me mouth water. Of course, once the cockatoos realized whose property they pilfered, they flew into a panic and holed up in Idleshire after stashing the goods somewhere. This is where you and your samples come in. We want you to take Leofard and... Before you spill the rest, Stacia, let's make sure our friend here is still up for a spot of fowling. How about it then? I have been craving game bird lately. Heh, I knew I was right to call you. Those downy ducklings won't know what plucked them. Quite so. With Rickubus returned and our crew complete, victory over these ne'er-do-wells is most certainly assured. By the by, would you have any terrible... wait. By the by, would you have any terrible objections if I informed the Rogue Knights of your designs upon these charlatans? The Knights are affiliated with the House Harlot. You see, in those my particular interest in recovering the contents of that Skyscale vessel, I know my most capable lady Lantionette simply will not rest until she has brought these scoundrels to justice. Can't say it's an alliance I've ever considered, but so long as I get all the cockatoo I'm due, our knight most thorny are welcome to catch and cage as they see fit. Splendid. Lady Lantionette shall be very glad to hear of it, overjoyed even. Yes, she may simply be unable to contain her unbound delight. I must away. Not waiting us in Ottershire, but danger in subterfuge. But such is more tempting to our ilk than lovely knights, hey? Let's be off. I'll explain the rest of our gambit once we're there. Stream is stuttering a bit. Uh-oh. Hey, Mechanic Cat. I just now looked over at my phone. I was like, oh shit. And the overlay is kind of fucked up a bit. Let me do something real quick. Wonder how that got moved over. Something went wrong with this for sure. Okay. I wonder how it's stuttering. Let me... Everything seems fine on my end. I hope this doesn't turn into a shitty stream because of this. I don't think I switched things back to how they were. I think it was because of the cutscene. It's good now. I am alt-tab, so like, there's definitely some frame rate stuff like when I'm tabbed out of the game. But is there stuttering as I run around and like jump? Or does it seem smooth enough? I think everything is fine. I didn't do any test before stream. It's perfect? Okay. I did have stuttering issues before, so that's why I've been like generally a little worried with when I stream Final Fantasy XIV, because they're pretty long streams, and there's like a lot of focus on reading and stuff. So I don't want them to like be all choppy and look like shit. I'm using the highest bitrate I can for this stream. I don't know if I should go over or if Twitch frowns upon that. Only in the cutscene. Maybe there were some particle effects then. This game's weird with how it records. Who's the dandy now, you ask? Heh, I reckon my reputation precedes me in these parts, and the legendary red-billed leopard ain't known for togs like these. Though, I could get used to this. Comfortable, practical, and with a sense of style to boot. Ain't often you find that holy triad in battle gear. Quite the line you're touting. Which brings us to your role in my master plan. Well, it ain't easy laying low in a motley place like Idleshire. Oh, whoops, accidentally skipped it. So to lure them out, we're going to spread savory rumors of a black market merchant looking fence fine contraband for even finer coin. That's you. My brain kind of like skips when I read some of this dialogue sometimes. It's cool to like have like accents and like different like I guess what would you call them? Dialects. I'm just bad at reading. Just strike up a chat with any adventurer peddlers that seem like to share her say. I'll be playing your handsome bodyguard, so rest assured I've got your back, Master. I've taken the liberty of preparing your guise. It ain't as flattering as Leofard's, but you should fit the part nicely in this. Leofard is now accompanying you. Keep him at your side and continue wearing the black mark. Excuse me. Need to drink some water. Leofard is now accompanying you. Blah blah blah. This quest mechanic again. So we're gonna be traveling around. Now, when they first implemented this mechanic, you used to not be able to mount, I'm pretty sure, and have the characters stick by or like use any little aetherites to fast travel, so it was more nightmarish to do. But now they kind of just appear by your side when you demount and teleport, so it's not as annoying as it used to be. Ah man, today's a really fucking loud day. Be it outside, be it in the house, man. I hope that it isn't being picked up too much on the stream. Contrabandists? Well, I do know of some sky pirates new to town, and just the other day I overheard them discussing their latest windfall. Ah yes, the sort of enterprising folk we're looking for. Think you could help us pin them down? I'll do what I can, but I'm no stranger to sky pirates, so I'll ask around. merchant yourself, are you? Perhaps I'm overstepping, but consider this friendly advice. Seeking out sky pirates dressed in such stereotypical garb is akin to dangling a sign from your neck reading, "Purge my purse." Oh, the righteous red bills may pity you, dear sir, but few else. Righteous? Righteous ain't never been to me liking, mate. It just can't abide them reprobates, but what don't honor the creed of sky pirating. Of course you can imagine Red Bill Leoford might say, eh? Not that it's any matter of ours. Anyhow, should you find someone looking to offload or dubiously obtain merchandise, send them our way, will you? If you insist, but don't say I didn't warn you. This place always freaks me out because it's just like a giant black void underneath. It's like, how deep does this place even go? Yes, yes. Gobby eye catches such sky stealers. Sky stealers come to claim Bizy deals at Craftforge, but bring no trade goods for Jiggly Shine. Great laugh joke for Gobby merchants. Sky stealers leave with grump face. Gobby do not understand why uplanders wish to trade tongue flaps with grump face sky stealers, but happy to hand lend for more laugh jokes. Much obliged. If all goes to plan, we'll have you lapping jokes over their sorry hides for summers to come. Great happiness for golly uplanders. Gobby share one more laugh joke. Sky stealers whine cry about calling strong friends as they shame run. Friend may be strong, but sky stealers' brain cases are still airy light. Again, reading goblin dialogue is difficult. I really should just mount up, but sometimes I'm just like, I like running better. I don't know. During the last stream, where I was doing the main story quest, I realized when I was doing it on alt that you could actually mount up in those areas. So I was making everything take twice as long by just traveling on foot, and I didn't realize it. Here's another cutscene. Hopefully it's not like too skippy. So, are we talk of the town yet? As far as I can tell, you're strong contenders, perhaps second only to rumors about a mysterious intimidator who cast their lot in with the cockatoos. Only natural that those sniveling whelps hired a brown beater, but a brow beater. Brown bricks. Well, what thickhead I have brown bricks on the mind? But what thick-headed willingly courts the rancor of the Red-Bill Leofard? Well, I suppose a few names come to mind, but no matter, our plan proceeds as discussed. Up. And get the crow. It's coming to my side. There we go. Thank you for the posture check and the hydrate. Let's take to the streets and wait for our clients to come crawling, eh? Whoa there. Are you the traders looking to chaff with the monstrous cockatoos? Chaffer, what scrags like you? Fury end me. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. That voice. Red Bill Leofard? As you live and breathe? Not for long, though. If you don't hand over what you and your dicky bird stole. Eh. Bluster all you'd like, Red Bill, but you ain't getting the better of us in this time. We've treated with a sky pirate that'll crush you to pumice. And there you were thinking this would be ever so simple, were you not, my dear Leofard? Not in the slightest. I was thinking surely Redalia and her talons would never sink so low as to become lackeys to a lackey. But here you are. I might even start to pity you. And that is where you consistently underestimate me, Red Bill. I would stop at nothing to realize my desires. Or were the sweet memories we made together in Dunscaith not enough to convince you of that? But I suppose I might be willing to overlook your stubborn indifference and return those stolen airship parts you so desperately seek, if you would but call me your captain. The fucking smile disappearing off his face. Completing that airship means more to me than you'll ever understand. I ain't leaving here without me stolen goods. If they're worth recovering, that is, you there. Cockalorum. You didn't leave that plunder in wind-aspected territory, did you? Of course you did. Head's as empty as a tosspot's tankard. Those airship parts are embedded with highly calibrated corrupted crystals. Put them in any contact with the wind sprites and they're no better than glorified scrap. Ooh, wait a moment, he said contact, didn't he? How many wind sprites go contact in the rock formations on Province, eh? It'll be fine. Utata, you've got your hands on an airship, yes? Take her to Province and go pick up our stolen goods. Some genius hid them under a rock. You were bluffing? Obviously. Don't make me doubt your intelligence, Redalia. What airship needs parts that can't handle a little wind? Doubt what you'd like, Leofard. I hardly need bloody airship bits to beat you into submission. Finally, it's beating time. Hehe, it was me all along. Rickubus. Everyone's everyone's a badass until the fucking little midget walks into the room. Did you say Rickubus? As in Rickubus Incubus? Since when was he a friend of the Red Bills? Seems I'm not the only one whose name is worth something in these parts. I'm still prettier, though. Give me one moment. Sorry about that. Things are getting a little bit too noisy. I had to go check on something. Well then, sweet cockatoos. Let's get about cutting you up into cockatrees and fours, shall we? Redbill by himself is one thing, but Rickubus is something else. Ain't nothing for it, lads. Flee for your lives. So much for monstrous. Let's leave them to the garrison. Ain't enough meat on them shivering bones to warrant the chase. Radlia. I reckon this was more than a diversion to you, but surely you didn't think I'd fold to such a weak hand. All the more pity that you assume those airship parts were the only pieces of value taken from me and mine. But no matter, it's time to make your allegiance clear. If you and your talons intend to continue this farce, then we'll have it out, here and now. Well, it seems I misjudged my prospects. I had thought those simpletons might amount to more than sniveling turntails, but I have neither loyalty nor affection for a useless cockatoo. I suppose I shall have to content myself with this reunion in itself, but you will need more than clever bluffs to evade me next time. Of that you may be certain. God damn. A lot of noise today. Not much I can do. Those were some fine samples without question, but nothing beats wearing me own rags again. Go ahead to the Perrock and wait for us in my chambers. We'll be along once I've spoken with our knights most thorny. Ugh. I think we're getting close to the end of this quest, and then I'm gonna take a break. Then the final quest, I think, yeah, about like 40 minutes maybe that one's gonna take. I'm excited for that one because it delves into the Archfiend's backstories. I'm just checking some audio levels real quick. If the cutscene seems a bit like it's choppy, that's natural. It should return to being smooth in a second. Okay, we're good to go. Well, Yutata says all the stolen property is accounted for, and finishing touches on our airship shall proceed apace. And according to the Rose Knights, the cockatoos will be shipped off to the Diadem, where they can enjoy volunteering their services for the betterment of mankind. Ah, the Diadem. I remember the Diadem. Turn my brain off and grind for several hours every day, and end up placing in the top 100. without even like actually wanting the fucking place at all for one of the gatherers. Speaking of which, Captain, what is it to become of the miscellanea recovered from the cockatoo's hoard? I am sure House Harliant will lay claim to their possessions, but as for the appurtenances of unknown origin, worry not, puss. I don't pocket any jigamabob. I find like some petty foister will track down their rightful places soon enough if my predictions hold. Rickubus, is that you? There she is, my wife. My wife. It is. And you look quite as surprised as I feel to think we'd meet here, among the clouds and sky pirates. I was just finishing up my affairs in Idleshire, when who should come asking for me but Red Bill Leofard. Quite thrilling twist to my day, I'll have you know. How did Amelian put it? She got her figures at bought pies at a high street baker. When I got wind she was in Idleshire, it felt like snubbing fate not to enlist her expertise. Well, I'm exceedingly glad you did, for I have returned triumphant. Allow me to present the famous traveling portraist, Durimont. Or Durimert. I can't pronounce names. Portraitist? But of course, among the recovered items were a number of singular, beautiful paintings. Oh, I am relieved to hear it. When I learned which vessel had fallen prey to sky pirates, I thought those pieces would be lost forever. So you are yet another victim of the monstrous cockatoos. Still, a personal summons to the Parox seems like sort of social nicety to which the captain is normally intolerant. I believe my presence here may have another purpose entirely, you see. Leofard and I are old acquaintances. He commissioned me to paint that portrait, in fact. My beautiful daughter, Ramil. She looks perfectly at home here. Beautiful daughter? Duramert is a father to Lady Ramil, a gentlewoman who cared for Leofard as a lad. He abdicted all family affairs to his son when he became a practicing artist, but he's still a lord in lineage. You mean to say that the renowned portraist Duramert is not only your grandfather, but a former lord as well? Oh, you must forgive my blithe introduction from earlier. Not to forgive, Mistress Taru. On the contrary, I'm indebted to you for tracking him down so quickly. Thanks to you, this can happen just as I hoped it might. Construction's about finished on our new airship, and I wanted you here when I christened her. The Ramil will fly again. My dear boy, celebrating your mother's life with you continues to be my great honor. When you hung her portrait here, when you named your first airship, I could see the vestiges of her love shining in your countenance when just as it is now. I only hope you continue to realize her greatest wish for you, to live as free and unfettered as the sky itself. I know she would be very proud. A bit like herding corals, ain't it? Getting us adventure types all in one room, but well worth the effort, I'd say. Moments like these are meant to be shared. Right, I believe we got a new airship to fly and the open sky awaits. Now, this is an airship. With how she handles, I could fly to the edge of existence and back without as much of a hiccup. which I hear on good authority, on whatever authority Melian is when he is in his cups, you have literally done. I reckon I've never been such equal parts awed and envious, though I'll assume the invitation was simply lost by a postmobile. Nay, nay, in all candor, I'm certain there are some skies only meant for your eyes, escapades surpassing even my wildest imaginings. So chart the ends of eternity and horizons filled with peril. Just don't think you've seen the last of what wonders these heavens hold. I'll come find you again before long, Rickubus, and I'll bring everything I always promise. That thrilling, heady rush of high adventure. Though farewell may be bitter sorrow, I know. Fuck. No need to get mawkish for a ball. It ain't as if Rickubus is dropping off the face of the star. Not permanently, anyhow. We'll meet again soon enough, although Kateseth is liable to mope like a damp kitten till we do. I fucking hate when I accidentally, like, skip dialogue. I expect these parts will be free of half-baked brigands for a time yet, but should you ever find yourself in need of a red bill, don't hesitate to call. Thank you. 'Tis no small comfort knowing our ships may distribute their wares in safety. As for you, Rickubus, we'll be in touch. Okay, just call me on my cell phone. Oh, that was invigorating. I've led nothing more than to catch our collective breath over a cup of tea. Business calls me to Ishgard. No rest for the enterprising and talented, as we say. Shall we, Duramert? Might I persuade you to accompany us? It should very much like to hear your adventures. Painting subjects I find personally inspiring is a particular crendo of mine, and I dare say you have brushed shoulders with more than a few individuals of note. Thank you for indulging an old man's eccentricities. Now then, perhaps you could begin with adventures you shared with Leofard and his crewmates. Leofard intentionally offloaded this in our direction, yes? Whatever could it be? Whatever it is, Leofard's a man of his word. How mysterious, but now that I think of it, Leofard did mention sending something along when he asked me to track down Duramert. Well, it would make quite the sight lugging this around to all my meetings, so might I ask you to hold on to it for the time being? I trust you not to run off with my share of the reward. A gift from the notorious Red Bills, you know. They're a rather nice sort of sky pirate, don't you think? Yeah, they're pretty cool. I like Dud Skaith a lot. That's a cool way to ease. A bright and energetic young lady is your employer, Rickubus. I hope shepherding me back to Ishgard did not delay her business overlong. The tales you shared on the journey here were beyond anything I could have anticipated, Never have I heard such an inspiring episodes of daring do. Though I may not know them personally, I find myself fascinated by the individuals you describe, the comrades and acquaintances of your journeys. Yes, I believe I shall remain in the capital to paint for a time. Should you desire a portrait, I would happily part with it for the cost of its supplies. Find me here, and we can make the arrangements. Trying to be careful with accidentally clicking during cutscenes. This is something that happens a lot with me. Like I accidentally like click my right mouse button and then dialogue pops up and like I get like I pick at my face or something and then like I'm like, oh shit, and then it just skips the dialogue on me. Welcome back. I just received word from Mr. Starteru. What's this about portraits and sky pirates? That has happened. You just have this. Red Bill Leofard gave you this for the necklace. It seems to be a leather strap of sorts. And an antiquated one at that. me tripping over my own words. Wait a moment, I recognize this design from my studies. This is a relic of the ancient city of Mahak. It said that Mahak sorcerers would weave these cords with magics to make them unbreakable. You'd be hard-pressed to find better material for a necklace. Oh, Mistress Tataru will be so delighted. She chatted endlessly about how pleased she was to know the Red Bills and what sort of products might prove useful for our daring new friends. And those Rose Knights have already placed an order for the garrison, so all in all, I believe our latest endeavor was a brilliant success. As always, we shall be on lookout for new areas of opportunity, so I hope we can count on you to serve as our charming emissary again. In fact, I believe Mr. Stataru will insist upon it. Until next time. Alright, so what this side quest unlocked is I can now go back to Duramart and he will sell me paintings of the Scions. Very, very nice looking paintings. I don't really like to use paintings in my house. Well, not the character portraits, but I do like the paintings that are like from sightseeing and such. But these ones, like, they look really nice because they're actual paintings. Yeah, here we got Y'shtola. We have Thancred. We have Uranger. I still can't play. Uranger. Tataru, Alphanod, Alise, Krill, and Grahatia, the boy. I'll go ahead and buy a Tataru. Like I like it. It's a cute painting. Let's get a good angle on this right here. Alright, that's 2 out of 3 objectives down. The dialogue for that last series of quests kind of like had me a little bit tongue-tied. I am not the best reader. this isn't gonna be the best kind of video or stream for anyone to watch if they want to get engrossed in the game and like have someone else read the story to them. Just do it yourself. This is just me having some fun, doing a little stream. On the bright side, it seems like the noises kind of died down a bit. I'm not hearing too much happening outside. Hey, Picky. I'm just catching my breath between these series of quests. Oh yeah, she kind of looks like a little pig in a way. Just like now noticing between is that Alice Sawyer's emote and Tatter over there. My eye's feeling better. It seems like whatever got in it this morning probably finally like made its way out or is trapped in my eyeball forever. Whichever has happened, it's like at least I'm not feeling as much pain as I was this morning. Those are always rough mornings when something immediately gets in my eyeball. I hate that so much. Like a stray hair or something. Like, ugh. Hasn't happened to me in a long time, so I'm surprised it happened. Like, usually I'm better. I guess some mornings, like, there's like that whole, like, you get shocked awake somehow, and like you open your eye while it's still on your pillow. So that's a natural way of like getting something in your eye. What a horrible discussion. Getting stuff caught in your eyeball. How fun. Alright, stretch in, then we'll get back into the game. I'm hoping like the final quest of this gives something good. Well, we won't be seeing it until like what at 6.5, so 3 patches from now, 3 major content patches from now. If not, I better have a cute ending. Not everything can always give a proper little nice reward. Alright. I think I'm ready to go get the lore on the Archfiends now. So we're gonna be running around Radatan and get to take in the sights of the city a bit. Let me put the volume back up. Wonder if the house is probably won't be able to access the island. We'll see. Alright, so this is something I didn't know existed until I was like reading some people's thoughts on 6.2. And people were basically saying like, yeah, there's actually a new side quest that spawns in Radatan, but it's gonna get buried in like all the little low-level quests that litter the city. But because I am a perfectionist and a completionist, I have a very clean map. I've done all the story and all the side quests, so This guy sticks out like a sore thumb to me, but probably not necessarily other people, so if anyone doesn't know this quest exists, and you happen to come across my stream or video, then now you know it exists. The Shadowed Pasts. Ah, Master Rickubus, you couldn't have appeared at a better time. You see, while out patrolling the city, I chanced to sight a void scent. I immediately chased it down with the intent of eliminating it, but something about it struck me as odd. For one, it made no move to defend itself, but simply sat there, jiggling. Which is why, against my better judgment, I decided to capture it instead. Having traveled to the void, I dare say you have considerable knowledge of its denizens. If you have a moment, might I trouble you for your opinion on the creature's unusual behavior? I'm truly grateful. Now, if you would follow me, the creature is being held in the Hall of the Radiant Hosts. Here it is. Surprisingly docile, even when I captured it. There have been no reports of attacks prior to that. Even so, it's the nature of void scent to prey on people for their aether. Perhaps it bides its time, waiting to carry out some manner of scheme. You. I remember you. Yes, you were at Troya. Please, you must help me. You were at the castle? Indeed I was, but I've since fled here. I understand the mortal tongue well enough, but I don't have a mouth to produce the sounds. It's been a struggle to convey my thoughts. But not anymore. You can help me? Yes, you can. So I guess it's speaking to me through my brain? Or the echo. You can converse with the void scent? Amazing. Could you ask it why it came here? When you and yours stormed the castle, I caught up in the fighting and died. In time I returned, but I tire of fighting, so I fled, using the gate to your world. Having just been reborn, however, my essence hadn't fully bound together yet, and so when I emerged from the gate, I was as several sundered selves. Frightened and confused, they scattered. Following their trail led me here, my diminutive size allowing me to remain largely unseen. But by the same token, I can do a little more than sneak about. Each of us was weak and powerless. That's why we consumed one another in the first place. Together we were strong. I want you to help me find all of me so that I can be whole again. What did you intend to do in this world? Why, live here, of course. I've always wanted to. We still remember the past, you see. Still remember when we were mortals. We long to have that life again, but we need your help, starting by reuniting us. We won't try to devour anyone, even when we're whole, I swear. You wish to learn more about the Void, yes? There's much we can teach you about those who rule its domains, about their past. Find the others and they'll tell you all they know. No eating, no tricks. Do we have a bargain? Alright. So it crossed over to our world to escape conflict and now searches for the rest of itself. I understand Voidsent are quite reliable when it comes to fulfilling a pact, and I dare say having one as an ally would benefit our research into their world. Very well. If you would be so kind as to search for its kin, I will consult my superiors on how best to deal with them. By that, I take it we have a bargain. Good, good. I sense 4 others close by. When you find them, you need only point them in this direction. Once they sense my presence, I can guide them the rest of the way. Nah, man, he's got the cool armor. It has the giant ring in the back. I wonder if Elden Ring had any influence on this armor set. What's that? I asked you to search for me in exchange for knowledge about powerful Voidsent? I was still wanting to see this and that, but I suppose a deal is a deal. Those men over there, soldiers are they not? We used to have soldiers in our world too. There were lots of them during the Contra Memoria. Ah, back from Weaver's wardings, are you? I hear you fought well against the Voidsent that slipped through. Come now, I merely did my duty. Haven't we all sworn to protect our nation, no matter the cost? Protecting our nation? How familiar those words. Where was it that I heard them? Ah, yes. It was the early days of the Contra Memoria. The enemy had conjured a terrible eidolon that laid siege to a fortress. I'm trying to remember how they pronounce that in Final Fantasy. The garrison was made up of ordinary soldiers, men and women with no remarkable abilities, but led by their valiant commander, they fought bravely and desperately. They had to last until the Memoriate arrived. The commander told them, needed to hold out no matter the cost. The Memoriate did eventually arrive, but not soon enough for the soldiers. Having struck down the eidolon, the Memoriate and his servant searched for castle survivors. They found only the dead. But just when they had given up all hope, a faint groaning reached their ears. They rushed over to the sound and cleared away debris. To find a lone survival, the garrison commander. Hey, wait a second. I know where this is. This isn't. This is that one Shadowbringer zone where you talk to all the big camel birds. They're using this as a prop for telling the story because it's like vague enough. To find a lone survivor, the garrison commander. Instead of joy, however, the sight of the man filled them with anger. Your soldiers are slaughtered to a man, yet there's barely a scratch on you. What's the meaning of this? The eidolon was savage but mindless. It was a simple thing to hide myself beneath fallen debris. Hide? As commander, you had duty to your men. You were supposed to put their lives before your own. Spare me. My duty was to ensure the fortress stood, and it did. Besides, my death wouldn't achieve nothing. Honored be damned. No, I'm sworn to protect our nation, and do that I must live. It isn't my fate to fall here. It isn't your fate, you say? Is he? Merely unconscious. Come, let us bury the soldiers and their commander with them. Then they're gonna bury him alive. Fate shall decide what becomes of him, whether he lives or dies. Very well, my lord. Funeral rites were later held for the fallen, but solemn tears quickly gave way to horrified screams as a body emerged from the earth. The commander. I can't die, I must live, the man said to have declared. The people thought him a demon, disheveled horror, muttering curses as he wandered off to regions unknown. Skarmleon, they called him, a name befitting his newfound grisly visage. A name befitting a monster. So he was a Mekote. We thought we buried him deep, but a mortal's desires to live is not to be underestimated. You're immortal, so I expect you understand that desire. Well, that concludes my tale. I had best rejoin myself, if you'll excuse me. Let's go up here first. So this is where mortals consume aether. Ether. Dreading loneliness more than hunger. How very like me. If you don't mind though, I'd like to observe the mortals a while longer. The food here is simply sublime. Why, I feel stronger with every bite, as if the Murgle themselves were granting me their blessing. The food is tasty, that's true enough, but no food is sublime as to be a substitute for proper training, my friend. Stronger with every bite, every feed. For my part of the bargain, I will tell you about how we void scent become strong. Simply put, it depends on the quality and quantity of ether we harbor. When the world was consumed by darkness, the heroes known as Memoriates arose as powerful void scent. In contrast, the vast majority of mortals, powerless and unremarkable as they were, became ordinary void scent, like me. There were exceptions, of course, but one in particular I'll never forget. Skarmleon. Never had I seen a void scent so craven. Even when he pushed to the brink of starvation, he would prey only on those weaker than himself. He subsisted on scant leavings and lived in constant fear and hunger. In the face of danger, a void scent stronger than himself, fleeing was the only option. But a day came when he found his way barred. How pitiful. Such overwhelming aether. Who is this? You fled instead of facing your foe. Why? Why? I'm too weak. Why else? I would have been devoured. So, had you enough strength, you would have stood your ground? Very well then. What's happening? Yes, I feel the power swelling within me. Lo, your foe returns. Yes, what have you done to me? I granted you but a sliver of ether. 'Twas the power you already possessed that you defeated your foe. I possess such power? Fear has clouded your eyes, blinded you to the strength you had attained feeding on the weak. If you would free yourself from fear, then join me. You shall have a greater cause to live for, and know true power. Curious how, in a world without death, the fear of it could be the key to great strength. The knight recognizes this, recognized the void's sense potential, and thus did he take him into his service. Determined as he is to live, it wouldn't surprise me if he were still somewhere out there. He'd be even more powerful now, I expect, from all the devouring he would have done since. Unlike your world, eating actually makes you stronger in ours. Well, I must be going now. The others are waiting. And next one we'll do will be up here. My other self grows lonely, you say. My apologies. It was my intent to seek out the others, but I was distracted by the bickering pair of mortals yonder. My goodness, but there have been some colorful language. To hell's with your father, you shouldn't need his permission just to leave the goddamned house. Please, mind your language. What would father say if he were to hear you? It's always father this, father that with you. I'm sick of it. You're your own woman now. Bloody act like one for a change. Colorful language, yes. Not from the girl, though. Oh no, she appears to be quite well-bred. I just hope she's happier than a girl I knew long, long ago. That girl was born into a family of thugs who suddenly found themselves nobility. She was raised as a noblewoman and had servants tending to her every need. But in the end, she was merely a beautiful bird kept in a gilded cage. Wanting her to be a proper lady, her parents presided over all aspects of her life. They decided everything for her, telling her what to say and do. Chafing from fetters of her restrictive life, she solicited her handmaiden's aid and stole outside the manor, where she enjoyed a moment of bliss unbeknownst to her parents, or so she thought. It was no longer before her father dragged her back to her room, barring the door and windows, denying her even the simple pleasure of an afternoon breeze. Even a bird in a cage may chirp freely, but she wasn't even suffered to give voice to her desires. But she wouldn't be deterred. Having once tasted sweet freedom, she yearned for more, and one day she succeeded in sneaking out of the manor in a second time. You're late. I was beginning to think you wouldn't come. If you're expecting your friends, I'm afraid they're not coming. Father, how did you? What do you mean they're not coming? I had known that some miscreants were cavorting in these parts, but to think that they'd dare try to consort with my daughter. Well, you needn't worry about them anymore. They're food for the fishes now. Yeah. How could you do this, Father? You must torment you. Why am I doing the dumb voice? Why must you torment me so? Know your place, girl. You are a means for our family to gain influence, and I won't have you sullying yourself with riffraff. Ooh. You will not leave your chambers save with my permission, nor will you disobey me again. If you do so, there will be severe consequences. Am I understood? I said, am I understood? To hell. What did you say? I said, go to hell. Ah. Top 10 dark moments in Final Fantasy XIV. Oh, to think that it could be so exhilarating to speak my mind, to do as I please. No more living in a cage. From this moment on, I am free, free as the wind. The young woman struck out her own, and in her travels discovered her true calling, not in the halls of lords and ladies, but on the battlefield. She became a force of nature, famed for her striking beauty which belied a terrible savagery. And with this new life, she also claimed a new name, Barbaricia. She's the one I can't really pronounce her name that well. Barbaricia. Indeed, she found her freedom, but did she also find happiness, I wonder? I suppose I'll never know, nor does it matter, for the world that once was is no more. Oh, but goodness me, I had better rejoin the others. Alright, we got one last tidbit of lore. Oh, there's Zero. The way the sky changes color with the passage of time, it probably a mundane thing to you, but for me it's a marvel. I dare say I won't soon grow bored of in this world. Ah, what a refreshing breeze. I am to return to the others? Bah, they should come here. Would you look at this beautiful, boundless sky? Mortals take the air from here, do they not? Would that I had wings to soar among the clouds myself. But we avoid scent, not wont to roam, you see. The mightiest among us carve out domains, while the rest labor to stay in their good graces. Now the master of a domain seldom ventures outside, for it is one's territory that one is strongest. For some, however, such confinement proved trying, as was the case for certain points that I knew. I speak of free-spirited terror, Barbarecia. When she first established her domain, she whiled away the days waiting for her minions to bring her prey. The aether amassed from these offerings were devoted to the singular pleasure of caring for her silky, flowing locks. But the resources of her domain were not without their limits. It was only when none remained to oppose her that she realized she was a prisoner in her own domain, and unless she broke free, she would inevitably wither away alone. Not knowing what to do, she had fallen into the depths of despair, when the hand of salvation came to pull her out. At this rate, my precious hair will frazzle and fray, had I only the strength to leave my domain. If strength is your desire, that is easily granted. Who are you? Ah, such power surging through me. And what will you do with it? What is it you desire? What I desire? What I desire is... You would move your very domain? Impressive. That I can do such a thing. What have you done to me? I granted you aether, nothing more. It was your will that made it possible. My will? My will. Even so, no matter where you should go, there is naught but darkness. What could your destination possibly be? Destination? I have no need of such. I wish but to be free, like the wind. In a world that had met its end, rare indeed is the soul who desires freedom so ardently that she could will her very domain to move. Recognizing this quality, a knight would grant her more power and a place of command in his mighty army. A story worthy of our bargain, I trust. I might have had more to tell had I not fallen off her domain. It seems you mortals also have a fondness for flying. I'd certainly like to try riding on one of those airships of yours. But perhaps another time, my other selves be a blubbering mess if I didn't hurry and rejoin them. You have found the last of the Void Scent. Time to head back to the Hall of the Radiant Host. Thank you so much for finding me. I hope the knowledge I had to share was worthy of our agreement. How did you come to know the Archfiends? My other selves lived quite disparate lives, both as mortals and Voidsent, though I suppose it is rather fortuitous that they crossed paths with such powerful Voidsent. But more importantly, what they could offer was worthy of our bargain. For that, I am glad. All that remains now is for us to rejoin and become whole again. Huh? Is this not all of me? There can be no other explanation. There's still more of me lost out there somewhere. But I do not sense them. Where could they have gone? You mean there's more of them wandering about? By the sisters. At the very least, if what you say is true, they pose no threat to the people. Until the others can be found, we will keep these 5 under our care. Should I sense the others nearby, I hope we could count on you to find them too. So, as far as I know, no reward for this. It's completely optional. It's a flavor text and lore about the 4 Archfiends. A little short break. My room's heating up considerably. I wish it were easier to get some better airflow where I am. Unfortunately, very noisy. I'd open the window, but there's a lot of riffraff outside. I open my door, the little Cerberus might wander in and start barking. It's not something you've seen on stream yet, but it exists within the house. Get some water to soothe my throat a bit. I think for right now, I'm gonna throw you guys into the BRB screen, if anyone's watching. And I'm gonna go walk around and stretch my legs a bit, and then we'll see if we could get into the island sanctuary. If not, I'll cut the stream short. Yeah, another short stream, who would have thought? But yeah, I liked all these quests. I like the Archfiend one a lot, because obviously I have a bias. I love them. And I think it's interesting that we actually do get to see their backstories and like who they were in their previous lives and how they came into power. And Tatoo's Grand Endeavor, like, yeah, that's so-so to me. Wasn't like too invested in that story, but I thought the Rising event, that was like a nice little. It's not like not action-packed or anything, but it's like a nice little humble beginnings, like, oh, you were once a noob. Here's this other noob. Go help this noob. And it plays in like the whole like new player thing, and I'm pretty sure what inspired the theme for this year's Rising event is the surge in popularity of Final Fantasy XIV, and how there's that many more new people playing the game and learning the ropes. And kind of the event is to basically say to a lot of the older players, like, hey, there's a lot of new people coming into the game. Do your best to help them out and guide them in a way that helps them on their journey and whatnot. So, and developers of this game do love it. They put their heart and soul into it. Though sometimes it feels like they're kind of nickel and diming us with the Mog station. And sometimes the content kind of falls a little bit short of our expectations. Like, they aren't too generous with what they give us, but I feel like if Square Enix as a company wasn't the way that they are right now, maybe Final Fantasy XIV would get a lot more love and attention that it truly deserves, and wouldn't push the developers to have to constantly push out Mog Station stuff just to kind of like make the money to continue the 5 patches after the big expansion drop. Because as far as what I can tell or know of, the budget for Final Fantasy XIV is usually in the big like expansion, and once that's over, like the following 5 patches after the main story will generally just be smaller in scope and on more of a tighter budget, and they rely on like the Mog Station sales to kind of like help fund a lot of the new content and music and all that. All the sales that they get from the expansion itself get funneled into other projects over at Square Enix, and I think they admitted that in an article regarding Final Fantasy VII. And you know, because of that, you bet your ass that fucking Final Fantasy Shadowbringers like making shit tons of money was funneled into Marvel's Adventures. And man, that if that's actually what happened, that's a fucking shame. Yeah, the subs too. How can I forget the most obvious thing? Like, all the sub money is like also, it goes into like funneling the funding the following patches as well. So it's really up to like how much the devs can honestly do. And they got a lot of chaos behind the scenes too, I'm sure. They didn't expect the game to like have the massive resurgence of streamers absolutely destroying our fucking servers and like having to force them to finally upgrade shit. And then that's also during a chip shortage too, so they can't get the shit that they need to update the servers until November now. And who knows if they'll even get it by November. Maybe they'll have to fucking delay it until like the new year. Who knows at this point? I don't know if like there's still this like massive resurgence of streamers, because the queues to get into the servers haven't been as bad as they were previously. And I don't know what new MMO is even out there that everyone is like jumping ship to play. Like fucking people want to watch their like favorite like MMO content player that's just like some bald dude sitting in his house being like, all right, let's play this game. And then everyone's like, yeah, let's go play this game. And then they all just like, I joke with the whole bald thing. But you know, the stupid meme. Being a big streamer though, like, these people create like their little armies and they go invade MMOs and stuff, and it's kind of, it's a spectacle, and it's also a hindrance in a way. I don't know, I was playing Final Fantasy XIV long before this, and the game always seemed like the community was a lot more smaller, but more quality. So it's been interesting to see that what the explosion of new players has brought to it. I'm just hoping at the end of the day it's kind of opened Square Enix's eyes a bit, and they go like, wow, Final Fantasy XIV isn't our only project that Final Fantasy XIV is our only project that isn't failing and is actually a commercial success compared to fucking Marvel Avengers, Final Fantasy VII Remake, exclusive Final Fantasy VII Remake content, but only if you have the PS5. And don't know how that remake's come along, but I know it doesn't have its fans. And if I ever play Final Fantasy VII, you bet your ass it'll be the classic version and not this new version. play it like, you know, on stream and all that. But that's gonna be a lot of reading. I don't know if I'm gonna want to do a lot of reading. Playing RPGs is tough. Speaking of RPGs, current song that's playing, I definitely will now voice act this one. Well, I'll try to voice act it. I don't know. We'll see. Okage Shadow King holds a very weird place in my heart. And what was I saying? Oh yeah, what other failures have come out of Square Enix lately? They sold off Crystal Dynamics, so they don't own Tomb Raider anymore. I don't think they own Gex either. I don't when it comes to the Enix portion too, they have stuff like I don't know if Treasure has the full rights to it, but Mischief Makers. That was like Enix funding Treasure to make Mischief Makers. Then there was big hit losing Gex. Yeah. Who knows, maybe Gex can make a resurgence. Like, it's the fucking time, if ever, to reboot the character and bring him back. And like, if the Gex games are like, you know, passable, mediocre, maybe with like the fucking technology we have now, they'll actually make him a tolerable character. Maybe they'll make a game that's actually fun to play. I'll play the Gex streams on stream one day. I don't think they're like that bad. I think they're passable. I think the first one's just a really fucking bad game, but its conception like came out of a really weird time for gaming, like right between the transition from 2D games to 3D games. So there was like a lot of limitations that led Gex to being the most notorious offender of repeating the same unfunny voice line over and over again, because the developers could only fit like maybe 2 or 3 lines of dialogue in before the game would have too much data on it. So it's a bad game that I like. And it's got the fun horror level as like the first, which is you don't really see that a whole lot in games where the spooky level is the first level you get to go to. You see, the spooky level is reserved for usually it's reserved for like later on in the game, so like you can have that like, oh, spooky moments in games that aren't spooky kind of shit going on. But yeah, Square Enix is weird. They have a game from Love the Lick as well that they funded. Fuck, I'm forgetting the name. Indonesia. They also have like a weird game called Tenfold Jack. They put their Enix had funded a lot of like weird little games. Like once they merged into Squaresoft. I don't know, it's just been such a weird company. You expected like a lot of like really quality RPGs, and they're trying everything to like not give us JRPGs anymore. I look forward to Forspoken coming out and that being a massive commercial fucking failure. Then we'll know where all the Endwalker money went. God damn it. I hope Square Enix like wakes up and realizes like let's stop trying to appeal to Western audiences by like making shit geared towards Western audiences, and just make shit that we are known for making and being famous for, that like made us such an amazing company in so many people's childhoods. That'd be really cool if they just realized like, oh, people liked us for how we were, not what we are now. But that's asking for a bit much in the modern gaming industry, where everyone just wants to make as much money as humanly possible to stay afloat. They gotta give credit to Square though. They do really weird crossovers and ones you don't expect that are very left field. And I feel like that's kind of neat, but I also kind of wonder, like, how much money does it cost them to, like, have these weird collaborations and promotional things that, say, like, a fucking, what is it? Let me find it real quick. Here, let me slap it up on screen. This is gonna activate some PTSD. Because for the longest time, people were seeing this when they would launch the game. And yeah, a Dolphy. Something that's like very specific and like really really niche. Like, I got friends that are like into this kind of stuff, and it's a really fucking obscure and really expensive hobby. And they went out of their way to collaborate like with one of the top doll makers in the world, just like make a Y'shtola doll in their branding. And that shit costs like what? $980, not counting tax, not counting shipping. So you're probably gonna be paying like what, $1,200 or something for this by the end of the day. I don't know if like they sell with all the accessories too, or if you gotta pay extra for that. It's not something that's cheap. And then they had the real life guitar as well, which I think that's like $3,000 or something. They got like really weird promotional shit. The Butterfinger was like the least, like, that was such a normie event. Just go out to a store, buy $5 in Butterfinger products, get a free mount. That's basically just a chocolate cocopur, or what, a chocopur. However they pronounce those things' names. I love them, but they're stupid. But this is it's definitely like, I like that they do these weird promotional events. I just wish there's like a little more Butterfinger like events where it were more easy to get some of these promotional items, or participate at least. I don't know, but I went off on a tangent. I was gonna go on a BRB and, you know, go take a piss, maybe go get a nice cold water. Here I am talking about the Y'shtola Dolphy, and like, I think it's cool that they at least do a bunch of like weird collaborative efforts that no one asked for, as opposed to collaborative efforts everyone would ask for. Maybe one day we'll see a HoloLive crossover where they make little minions in Final Fantasy XIV. I don't want that. I don't actually want that. I'll want it when it does actually happen, and we could get like little minions of some of the VTuber characters, but I don't think Yoshi P will want that in his game. I think Yokai Watch was already hard enough to justify having within the game's universe. I don't know though, stranger things have happened. I know Nipponichi put them in Disgaea 6, was it? It's interesting. That's like the thing to do right now in Japan, is really collaborate with VTubers, so kind of waiting for it to happen for Final Fantasy XIV at this point. Let's move to Dolphy. I like, every time people launched the game for a while, that was all they would see, and it actually did creep some people out. So like, that's where like the whole PTSD of seeing that one image comes from, is just people being like, oh my god, don't show me that. I'm like, it's funny. Alright, I'm gonna toss you into a BRB screen and go do some quick BRB stuff, and then we'll see if we could check out the Island Sanctuary. So sit tight. If not, it'll be a very quick end of the stream. Okay, be right back.
1,000 years ago, a family's destiny was born. Not in a cradle, but in a coffin. Discover the origins of Dracula and the Belmont clan that's destined to hunt him in Castlevania, Lament of Innocence. Rated M for mature from Konami.
はいどうぞ。おお、大根が出てきてどうしたんだ。
抜いて担いで投げて夢工場ドキドキパニック7月10日発売。
アメリカで大活躍のスーパーハリネズミが日本でも大暴れ。その名はセガソニック・ザ・ヘッジホーグ。メガドライブで待ってるぜ。セガ
Introducing the epic challenge that only the Super Nintendo Entertainment System could make possible. Across endless land and water, you search. Deep into a parallel world where light becomes dark, you search. And just when you think your search has ended, you find it's just begun. The new Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. Now you're playing with power, superpower.
Sony Computer Entertainment America presents...
Alright, I am back. I am properly stretched, properly hydrated. And I'm ready to jump back into the game and see if I can even access Island Sanctuary yet. Probably not, probably not. I was able to get into my house, so maybe. Don't know how much content there is there to really like watch, but like a nice little introduction to it would be cool. There we go. Need to turn the audio back on. So of course I gotta go back to my home world. And this'll be the moment of truth. If I see a giant, yeah, I see a giant group of people, so maybe it's too late to even get into the island. Due to the extreme server load, so I'm just gonna keep clicking it for a bit. Not that... Yeah, well, it's such a bummer. I know a lot of people are looking forward to this content. If you're on a highly congested server, you can't even access it. Oh, I got in. I guess spamming does work. Some say the old housing system never died. It stayed with us all this time. Rickubus, look towards the horizon. Beautiful, isn't it? Good thing I didn't call it quits. Wow. Cute. There's nothing like a sea voyage to rekindle the adventuring spirit. So what do you think? This untamed isle is yours to cultivate as you see fit, or not, as it were. If nothing else, think of it as your personal hideaway, not so secret one. An island sanctuary in the Southern Isles. Home of the Lalafell. At least I think it's home of the Lalafell. The refreshing caress of the wind, the soothing whisper of the waves. How liberating. I admit, I've been looking forward to joining you here. Now this may come as a bit of a surprise, but the isle was once commanded by a band of pirates and used as a supply base. Fortunately for us, the group disbanded years ago and the isle has since largely returned to its natural state. As you know all too well, Merylweb's never been one to sit around idly. She's had her eyes on the sealed formulating plans for the island settlements for years. Now that a sense of peace has settled throughout the realm, she finally decided to put those plans in motion. A chosen few have been permitted to become keepers of private islands in the vast archipelago, and you're one of them. My industrious ideas of procuring all materials needed to settle here locally struck a chord with the Admiral when she read my proposal, so much so that she was happy to grant me a deed. You'll be handing said document, I hope. Oh, I could show you a thing or two about starting an enterprise of this magnitude, but I have something better in mind. I shall happily introduce you in just a moment, but you'll need to follow me towards the charming little clearing I've designated as your base of operations. If we simply clamber up the slope ahead and proceed along the path, we should soon bump into, well, you'll see. Allow me to introduce you to the Felicitous Furball, the leader of your team of helpers. Well, if it isn't the owner himself, it shall be my pleasure to advise you, whether you desire it or not. Oh yes, I think we'll get along just fine. Nice Homestuck text. In addition to our feline friend here, I took the liberty of preparing a variety of other mammoths to assist the construction and development of the Isle. You'll be pleased to know they are the latest and greatest models, developed by one of the most brilliant minds in Charlotte. You'd think I'd be able to pronounce that after Endwalker came out, but no. I heard that a professor of the Studium was searching for a means to make use of his advanced automata. To make a long story short, I made him an offer he couldn't refuse, and managed to acquire all of them for the unbeatable price of free. Free. As I understand, the mammoth were produced in secret whilst the formulated plans for the mass exodus. Intended to be used as laborers on distant stars to help in construction a new home for the people of Aetherius. It seemed all reason for their existence vanished when the threat to our star was erased. As you can imagine, the professor was quite conflicted over what to do with the remains of may well known as been his life's work. But after some negotiation, I convinced him to entrust them to us, on the condition we shared the data I retrieved from the development of the Isle. Further, while I know it sounds like an ordeal and I have to procure all the necessities for the island itself, there is ample practical justification for such experimentation. You see, the Admiral's vision is for people from all walks of life to have access to these island sanctuaries, and my idea might just be the most effective way to accomplish that. If one has the capital at hand to purchase the materials and equipment needed for such a bold endeavor, it is a simple matter to subsist safely and comfortably in a remote location, but that limits potential isle keepers to a paltry few. What of those without such funds, who simply wish to enjoy nature and live off the land? We must prove that such a feat is possible and assist in providing these would-be isle keeps with the knowledge they need to succeed. Only then will these islands truly be sanctuaries. Fret not, Mistress Tataru. With authentic Sharian ingenuity and know-how at my claw tips, this simple-minded individual, Thunk, excuse me, despite the enhancements in vocal organ design, the mechanism still gets stuck from time to time. Goodness, what a relief. But I should leave you to get properly acquainted. I'll return to see the fruits of your partnership when they're ripe for the picking. For now, enjoy your own personal paradise. Cultivate the land or explore. The choice is yours. Yes, welcome to the island. Give the word when you're finished ogling at the surroundings. I prefer to get on with this sordid business sooner than later. I shall also very much like to discuss the matter of my payment. You may now visit the island sanctuary of a party member, free company member, or friend who has unlocked the feature by speaking with Baldin in the Morabi Dry Docks. You will be unable to visit an island sanctuary if the owner has forbidden access to their island. There is no one on the island in question, or the isle in question has already reached its maximum capacity. Furthermore, you must be on acquaintance's homeworld if you wish to visit their island sanctuary. You may invite party members, free company members, and friends to visit your island sanctuary once it has reached a sufficient stage of development. Okay, so it's got like limitations when it first starts. Explore the wilds, build landmarks, grow crops, tend the animals, and everything in this slice of paradise that has to offer. No class job restrictions. Adventurers of all inclinations are to enjoy the island sanctuary life, regardless of crafting or gathering experience. Come as you are. Accumulate island experience by engaging in activities on your island to increase your sanctuary ranks. As your sanctuary ranks increase, so too will the facets of the island life available to you. Realize visions for your newfound sanctuary by following a series of simple steps, and life on your island will be nothing short of perfect before you know it. I understand what I must do. Now listen, Rickubus. May I call you Rickubus? Well, I will anyways. Before we get started, I want to make it very clear that while you may be the owner, I command the mammoths, and as such I demand a considerable sum. I would hate for us to get off on the wrong foot. With that settled, beyond the slope lies a clearing that Mistress Tataru believed would serve well as a base of operations. Let us give it a look, shall we? A fine place to set up shop. Would you not agree? Yes, I think it will do nicely. Now, while it has much potential, this clearing is currently as bare as white baboon's buttocks. We need some form of shelter from the elements if we're to truly make something out of the place. Mistress Tataru has told me of your exploits, but I think it's safe to assume chopping down a tree with your bare hands is outside of your repertoire. Not that I'd ask you to even if I could. We need tools for delicate work of this nature. As such, the first order of business will be to craft yourself a hatchet. You'll need 3 palm leaves, 2 stones, and branches each. Follow east along the path and make your first foray into the wilderness to procure them. Should you get any funny ideas about exploring the isle and opt to leave me out here to waste in the rain, you will find my twin, the furious furball, waiting here for you instead. Before you go, I have something for you. It's called the Isle Keeps Index. It's to help you keep track of your projects here on the island. Can't have you running about watering mammoths instead of plants. That should be all for now. Safe travels. I'll be waiting here should you need me. If I've disappeared, it's because I've been mauled by a wild animal, I assure you. Okay. Let's go into gather mode. Blah blah blah. I'll read that if I need to. I think this'll be simple enough. There's a gathering log. Inventory is all stored here. So much shit to gather. Ooh. activating my almonds. See monkeys, but I can't capture them. No, I think you just keep doing this. It's like, you're not gonna really run out of things to do. There's like people already hit like rank 10 within the first 2 days. Oh, thank you for the posture check and the hydrate, Mechanicat. Can't be shrimping. I'm on an island, but I'll be shrimping anyways. Apple tree. Island vine. Branch. Vine. Wonder how chaotic this is, like once you get into like building stuff, like how many of like a single piece it's gonna need. Probably in the hundreds, so gonna be doing this shit like 100 times. I probably need to disable like the automatic camera, just because I've heard complaints of people saying like they get a little bit motion sick from the constant camera moving by itself. And since this is basically the entire content, it's gonna be happening a lot to see this. Just gather all this sand. I'll have to look up a guide on how to disable this later. I won't be streaming this for too much longer. I just wanted to be able to do the introduction. Then I figured I'll do this mostly on my own time. So what I need is art. It's back there. He did not get so distracted. Come on. There's the sheep to capture if I ever want to get the sheep, which I'm pretty sure the sheep and the chocobo will probably be the first thing I grab. I'm actually feeling pretty hungry right now. After I end the stream, I think I'm gonna go out and get something to eat. People just 10 XP per gather, just doing this for like 24 hours, 7 days a week. Some people truly are just dedicated, or else they're just using botting software. Though, would botting software necessarily work with this new content right out the gate? I wouldn't know, I don't use it. Don't ban me, Square Enix, ban the people that actually do it. That's another bummer about like the whole botting situation with this game. The game could basically entirely be played by a bot with the way it works, so unfortunately that's just kind of it kind of trivializes a lot of doing stuff yourself. Like when someone could just easily use a bot and accomplish everything that you can do. They cheat the game. But at the same time, they cheat themselves. Now no one will care about their accomplishments in a game no one cares about. Excellent, you've collected everything. We can move on to crafting your very first tool then, a hatchet. While you were out there gathering, you could do a little more than scavenge the odd branch here and there from trees, yes? Well, that will change in just a moment. With the hatchet in hand, you may hack away at as many trees as you like to secure timber and tree sap. The brilliance of the hatchet's design, a design of my own making, mind you, is that even a non-mammoth like yourself can craft it with your own 2 non-mammoth hands. Isn't that wonderful? I've uploaded the blueprints for the design to your index. Go on, make the hatchet. Bunga bunga. Wonder if there's a point in ever making more. Yes, this is indeed a hatchet. With it, you can now collect all the logs you could ever want or need. Let's move on to the next phase, shelter. The hatchet of yours should be able to cut through even the thick bark of a palm tree, meaning you can now collect palm logs, a material vital to our soon-to-be haven. The first building we make shall naturally be the most important, as it will be the very foundation of our base operations, and seeing as I have a gift for naming things, I think it best leave matters of nomenclature to myself. I hereby dub this essential facility the Cozy Cabin. Ugh, my poor back. It just made me straighten my back again. Goodness, I'm due for a healthy amount of grease after that ordeal. Anyways, I've prepared to land. You need to prepare to rest. Check the logboard beside me to review the materials you'll need for the cabin. As we're building a cabin this time and not a tool, the amount of materials required are a magnitude above what was needed before. Take your time collecting them if you must, but not too much. In the meanwhile, I'll round up the other mammoths in preparation for constructing the cabin and begin ordering them around. You know what I do best. Let's see. Alright, I already got like half of what I need. Just need the palm tree. If you're someone that basically finds gathering and crafting like relaxing, this is the content made for you basically. It gives like a bunch of cool stuff too. I think the heat's kind of getting to me right now, though. As I said, I don't have the best airflow in my room when I stream, at least. In order to cut back on a lot of the noise, I have to keep some doors shut, keep the windows shut. Otherwise, things will get loud, crazy loud, pretty fast. So my computer makes everything nice and toasty. And by nice, I mean not so nice. Where's those trees? I like the music. I like that gathering here is like one click instead of like 4 clicks, or like having to turn on the automatic and you're just like standing at the same spot for quite a while. That's like how the normal gathering works in this game. And there's some people that do like that too. This is more World of Warcraft inspired. So much stuff to click. It abuses my monkey brain and gives it dopamine that I'm like, ooh, you're making progress. You're gonna need all these materials. You're doing good to collect all this stuff. We'll go back and build after this. This is gonna be a light version, I think, of like building the airships and submarines and stuff that like grand companies have to go through, and like doing the bigger projects, which is content that I've never liked. I've never belonged to like a big FC though, so I don't really know how it like really functions. I've contributed a few of it before, but it's something that needs like many people or one very dedicated person to do, and I don't got time to do that. So this is building the base of it. My first home. I wonder if they're eventually gonna actually give us a real house in this content. So everyone will actually have their own house at some point. Some people think so. Not that I need one. Finally, a place to escape the occasional downpour. It is a bit rough around the edges, I'll give you, but it's a home. It's technically your home. But why get fussy about the details? Rest your head on the cot, or call your friends over. You're free to use it as you wish. I've taken the liberty of calling a few of my own friends over, in fact, and I will think you'll find them most charming. They can provide services you will undoubtedly come to find valuable. Alright, so I know these currencies are pretty valuable when you first start, and a lot of people are making the mistakes of spending it on what you can. So they're like, ooh, I want that hat, or I want that immediately, and they grab it, and doing so, it deprives them of like a very necessary currency to make progress. and all these collectibles. I'm gonna go crazy. Alright. And alright. I don't know how useful that's gonna be unless I hit a cap on the items, but I don't think that'll be too easy to do. For the most part, I think like everything that you collect is just stored here. And you can only you don't have limited inventory or anything. So it seems like a nice relaxing content to turn your brain off to. As you may have noticed for yourself already, this island's received a dreadful amount of sunlight. I expect that's desirable for growing crops. If cultivation is your sort of thing, I suggest you speak with my subordinate, the produce producer. You'll find the indolent oaf no doubt loitering around north of here, finding some excuse not to do any sort of work, a privilege reserved solely for myself. You know what? I think I'm probably just gonna end the stream right here. So, here. Let me make it so that animation doesn't play. Get a nice little view of my character in the island life. I can't really see it on this TV, I guess. Let me zoom in a little bit. So this is a nice little thing I can do. Always gotta take breaks between doing things in this game. They could be pretty long form. It's been like a 3-hour, 30-minute stream. A lot of reading, making me a little bit lightheaded. Maybe the heat is also contributing to that. Not much I can do though. It's kind of out of my control at the moment. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for lurking. Thank you for watching the VODs on either Twitch or YouTube. And well, I don't got much else to say, so I think I'm just gonna cut it here. And I don't really think there's any reason to raid anyone today.
The chance you'll get third party to
Whoops. Everyone more or less seems to be offline. Oh, actually, let's raid Mechanic Cat. He's always hanging out here, so check him out. Anyone out there who's lurking. So, I'll possibly see you tomorrow. I have a game in mind that I've been wanting to try out. And it's gonna be an interesting one. It'll probably just be like a 1-game stream, depending. I think I could probably like beat it on stream. I don't think it's a terribly too long game. It's a very funny, interesting, and fun-looking one though. So you'll see. So keep an eye out on Twitter, and I'll announce when I go live with it. I could give you a little bit of a sneak peek, I suppose, here, but I'll save it for the surprise. The surprise that no one shows up to claim. Okay, so take care, and thank you for the support. See you next time. Bye bye.